Welcome, I'm Dragonlantis, and I'm excited to play Stormgate, but I think it needs a little bit more polish, a little bit more sizzle. Here's my quick feedback on how I think you could actually add a bit more sizzle to the game to sell it to players that aren't necessarily hardcore fans of RTS games. So let's dive into it. First, the reason I'm making this is because the gameplay is release of the early alpha, and the feedback has been mixed at best. RTS fans are like gun-ho for it, we like it, and other people are a little hesitant. So this might help push people over the top. I think adding a few more what I call wow moments is really going to convince people to kind of jump on board. And originally when Zombie Grub made her video, her impressions video, she said there was only one wow moment, and I didn't really know what she meant. However, if you go back and watch her video, now it really kind of drives it home that like I understand there wasn't as many wow moments to really sell the game as I think there could have been, or that we were maybe expecting. So let's dive into my just random thoughts and suggestions, just brainstorming here on how we can make that. So first thing that I noticed is going to be a feature, but I think it could be taken to the next level. So we have destructible trees. And only a few seemingly destructible trees. I'm not sure how much destructible trees we're going to have, but I think we need more destruction. A lot of destructions. I think the destruction is fun and destruction as sizzle. So here, I'm showing kind of an example of what we have. And when we have our destruction is we have this animation where they just kind of dive through the trees. What I would do is I would make that animation pop a lot more. So when you're running through trees and destroying things, I want things flying through the screen. In StarCraft, we even had, sometimes when you get a kill, you have like that player that kind of floats up into the air. So when you're crashing through trees, I would make those trees destructible and fling through the air. So I kind of drew something like here, and you can kind of see like you crash through the trees, they're kind of coming towards your screen, a big explosion of trees. That would be cool, and I would add what I call more sizzle. The other thing is I think we just need more destruction in general. I mean, I know it's a short trailer, but I think it would be really interesting if we could destroy all the trees. Maybe it would be more difficult to destroy some of these other trees, but we need to, more destructible stuff. Like in StarCraft 2, one of the big things was destructible rocks. People are cheering for those. Destructible trees. I want more destructible terrain. Some games have made their entire game hood or whatever off of destruction. Minecraft, tear it down. You run through, make your new path. Super fun. That adds sizzle to an RTS, in my opinion. So I think I'd like to take that to, right now I think it's at level like 4 with the small little destructible trees. I'd like to take that to level like 8 or 9. So next thing is that the units don't actually feel powerful because there's a lack of something, right? And I think that something is recoil and knockback. In nearly every single game, there is some sort of recoil knockback when things are really strong, right? And here, let me show you what I mean. They're shooting, and these units are not moving. Nothing's happening. It's just they're shooting. It almost feels like a beam that goes through. Now, the animation is really cool. Don't get me wrong, but what could add a bit of sizzle, a bit of like wow a factor to it is if you shoot them and then they get knocked back. I don't know if you can see this, but like let's say they're shooting and then there is some sort of mechanic that makes them knock back and maybe impacts. Maybe if there was a ragdoll event where one player kind of hits the other player, it'd make lancers or charge lots or whatever harder to hit them. There's be so many more interactions, more dynamics. This is really what would set this apart from other RTSs. Now, I know for RTSs, maybe it's more difficult to implement some sort of physics like that, but that would be cool. It would make them feel much more powerful. It would make it a lot more fun, in my opinion, if there was a slight amount of knockback, slight amount of like resistance or something that shows that this is a really strong, powerful fire that's coming from these guns. So that is going to be my first suggestion. And the next suggestion actually kind of builds on that, where one of the cool interactions in StarCraft was actually the Reaper KDH mine, right? So you could bounce things around. That's cool. And I would take that to the next level. So imagine a mine right here. Imagine this was a giant mine or explosive or something. It kind of blows up, and then you could get these guys flying across the screen. That just like a big explosion where like people are recoiled off, or not recoiled, but like knocked back much further than we usually see. I think that would create another wow moment. Now, of course, I'm sure this is up for debate. I wouldn't want this happening all the time. And the final thing that I would add to it is I would want to retain some sort of level of control, even when it's being knocked back, even when it's in the air. So if you're the opposing player and you're being knocked back, maybe you could even micro it slightly in the air and kind of pull it down so it bounces, but you can kind of control where you bounce to a bit. So many fun interactions with this additional level of I don't know, knockback if you think of it. So the next thing is I don't want people to misconstrue or mistake knockback for stuns, because knockback is fun. It's like being booped around, like when force fields are pushing things around, or I'll take Overwatch. We'll have the Lucio boop, which is just pushing things around. That's fun because you still retain some sort of level of control from the other side. What is not fun and what leads to a poor user experience is going to be stuns, sleeps, other like mind control and all that. That is not fun. Whenever a player loses control of the unit, the opposing player, it just doesn't feel very good to lose control of your player. And I see there's a lot of stuns already starting to creep up into Stormgate. I would replace this with something else. I might replace this with a knockback, right? Like just not like a unit that just pushes them back or something and pushes into enemy territory or something like that. But here I see just the first ability, there's stuns. I'm scared there's gonna be a few sleeps. Overwatch is really the perfect example. They had a whole bunch of stuns, sleeps, and all that stuff, and then they tried to reduce it and get rid of it because it just felt horrible not to be able to control your character. So that's kind of like my early feeling. I don't want there to be too many stuns in the game. I want to retain control of all my units. I don't mind them being pushed around, knocked back, and all that stuff, but I want to retain some control. I don't want to just have a unit stun. All right, cool. Next is kind of be the thing that I think might be missing from at least the trailer, is going to be some sort of skill shot. So I know sniping is not super skillful, but in other games, like headshots is the most satisfying thing you could have. So here I have a clip.
Wait, what's that? Okay, for a second I thought it was a Nidus or something. Oh, this is going to be big, I think. There we go. Just make sure to run those out of the way.
It's that that little
okay,
snipe
the splits are looking good here.
So satisfying.
That was fantastic. Wait, the orbital lives. Guys, this could be huge. That's going to live, I think.
So in StarCraft, we have the Ghost. In Overwatch, we have Cassidy. In Counter-Strike, we have the Deagle headshots, which is pretty much everyone's favorite kind of ability. These are going to be the wow moments. These are going to be the interactions that people really enjoy. So kind of recapping here, I really think that destructible trees and taking that to the next level, the destructible rocks, making new paths is super cool. I would want to see more of that. I think the game, in terms of wow moments, needs some sort of sniper or some satisfying things. Right now, everything that we've seen has been very low impact. And while low impact might lead to longer fights, which I understand is kind of enjoyable, we still want to have some sort of, that little thing that gives us the kick that is high impact. The other thing, I didn't even touch on this, but it'd be cool if we had buildings explode, and when they explode, we had a big explosion on screen, and it might impact adjoint buildings. So this building exploding might impact this building, and this building, if they're placed too close, it might be some sort of like change the layout of your base depending on how you build it. You want to build it so if your building explodes, it doesn't impact all the other ones. Who knows? I think we need a lot more stronger knockback. So actually, some knockback from really powerful units. It would help enhance the visual feedback that they are powerful because those would be knocking back other units. But I still want to retain control as much as possible of all my units. So I want to eliminate the amount of stuns, sleeps, loss of control of the unit. So hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I look forward to Stormgate. I'll talk to you soon.